if I had to pick one thing that ends up being the determining factor for somebody's success, I'd have to go with at Trainual, process makes perfect. So when you look at a hiring process, it's not only about finding the ideal person. What do we have to do to get there? And there are a lot of steps. And I know it's different business to business, right? But I think first and foremost, we have a lot of applicants coming in. We're really grateful to have interest in the company, which is amazing, right? And I don't blame them. So with that, when we look at different profiles, we want to be flexible, right? We know that startups, there are so many other skills that people might have, past experiences. We don't want to be too rigid with, well, they have to have 2 years or they have to have X, Y, and Z. And we try to, take conversations with people who have, so many different diverse backgrounds. I think that that's really important. And from those conversations, we ask kind of a blend of behavioral questions, which are, tell me about a time you did something, right? I want to hear a specific example of that. And then some situational and some things of just, things that they really care about. But as you start to ask those, it is not a, tell me about a time you carried the groceries. It's really saying, more specifically, talking about specific projects and understanding what their working environment was. And then those values really tend to shine. So from there, after they talk to me, they actually get a Trainual subject. So they get to use our product firsthand and see more about the company, the values, meeting our leadership team, our benefits, all of the really good need-to-knows. And I think that shows our ability to set expectations for candidates, and it gets them really excited to use the tool. And then the rest of the process is, really splitting up role-based competencies and values to make sure that we are, looking at how they would actually perform in the role with a project, that they're meeting members of the team, and that they're able to really interview us too. We want to make sure that they're meeting all of the key people to make this decision the easiest yes of their career. So by the end of the interview process, we have looked at so many things: role-based competencies, values, getting to know more about their background personally and professionally. But if I had to pick one thing that ends up being the determining factor for somebody's success, I'd have to go with communication. Reason for that, we're in a remote environment. It's really important that this person shows up and communicates in a professional manner, a kind manner, and then they can collaborate. So being able to be in Slack, email, Asana, and obviously verbal communication, via either Zoom or in person, having that skill set and being able to flex that muscle will help them collaborate, which is carrying the groceries, and showing up ready, which is being prepared. So I think communication is the key theme that makes all of our values go around and that makes truly an ideal hire. You might be thinking, values, those are so squishy. Respect and integrity, of course, everyone has those. First of all, they don't all have them. But our values don't only reflect what our culture should feel like and how we treat each other, but they actually reflect how we do our work. So when we're hiring, there are values like making ideas happen, which is the ability to bring an idea to the table and execute upon that idea. So as we look at values specifically like that, ask questions that will show us tangible ways in their career that they've driven success in that area. From our values, like I said, we create a system to evaluate each one of those and make sure that not only the work they've done, but the way they operate is aligned to Trainual. So with that, obviously we're a software company and we're obsessed with our own tool, right? So we want to make sure that candidates have experience not only using specific tools, which is a basic question, what tools have you used, but how have you used them? There are a lot of ways to identify how somebody will be stepping into the role and how comfortable they'll feel not only using the tools you use, but learning new things in general. And I think that that's a learning spirit and really important to Trainual. So Kara, you are responsible for our onboarding. What else do you think we should look for when we hire?
Obviously, you want your folks to be values aligned, but we also want people who can genuinely be themselves when they come to work. I think it's super important that someone is truly being authentic to who they are. And we also look for culture adds. I know everyone says culture fit, but we always look at folks and think culture add. What are they going to add to this culture to take us to the next level? And so I think it's super important to understand that they do fit into the company, but also what are they going to bring that's a little bit extra, a little bit different.
So to get specific, when we hire somebody at Trainual to be somebody who's going to be ideal and obviously do really well here, communication is something that is a common thread. So as we've merged into this hybrid, remote, dispersed environment, it's really important that people can communicate verbally, async, and in writing. We have methods of how to evaluate communication throughout our hiring process to make sure that this is evaluated. And it is a key to being successful here at Trainual. So a few values that really support that: showing up ready is what I always talk about, being on time. And that is communication, making sure we're really pointed and we're direct and we're being mindful of others' time. No red tape comes up a lot too when we think about what we look for in an ideal employee. Being adaptable, right? We don't operate in a corporate environment, there are things that change. We are moving a million miles an hour. I like to say that you've got to lace up your running shoes, right? We're moving fast. So being able to roll with the punches, move, adapt is really, really important. And I think that's also supported in our values. And then collaboration. So that also goes with communication, right? And they all go hand in hand, which is why I want to use those as obviously supporting pillars of communication. But with that, I look at carrying the groceries, being able to authentically care about the people around you enough to step in and help them. If we have a project deadline, how can I be helpful? Where can I step in and where can I add value? Communication isn't just a key theme here at Trainual. I truly believe that that is a skill set that every company should look for. It doesn't matter what type of work people are doing, what your product is, what services you offer. Communication is how we work together. It's not only how we work together internally, but how we work with our customers and how we show up in conversations that help us be productive together. So if you are trying to juggle, what do I look for? There's 100 things I could be looking for. I think how people communicate as it pertains to your company and values is really important. Whether you love hiring as much as I do or not, we can all agree that hiring is one of the most important functions in your business. Making the right hire is the thing that will drive your values, your culture and retention, obviously, but it's really the thing that will get you where you want to go as a business. People are your most valuable resource. So it's really important that we get it right the first time and that we don't make those decisions lightly. One, negative Nancy can be a team of negative Nancys, and it can lead to really, really ripple effect repercussions on your team. So when you look at hiring, it matters. Take the time. I know it takes time up front, but making the right hire will save you time, make you money, and save you money in the long run, and also create the place that people want to work and people want to stay long term.